Why do you procrastinate even on things you want to do? And why do you blow things up right when things start going well? I'm Dr. Christine Hargrove, therapist specializing in ADHD, and today I'm answering the internet's biggest questions on ADHD and self-sabotage. Is self-sabotage actually a symptom of ADHD? No, self-sabotage is not a defining symptom of ADHD, but it is something that is really common with ADHD, and a lot of people don't realize how closely tied self-sabotage is with ADHD. Self-sabotage is the result of a lot of different symptoms of ADHD over time. And what happens is, we blame ourselves. We think, why am I such a jerk? Why can't I handle this? Why does everything always go wrong? And in reality, we just have ADHD. Why do people with ADHD procrastinate even on things they want to do? So ADHD makes it really hard to sense the passage of time and to see future things coming. We're sort of nearsighted when it comes to time, like stuff that's close to us in terms of, an hour away, 2 hours away, maybe tomorrow, feels really clear. We can focus on it. But the farther away things get from us on that time horizon, the fuzzier they are, and it's really hard to focus on them. We tend to put off things that feel ambiguous or unclear, and we focus on what's right in front of us. The problem, though, is a lot of times by the time that thing is close enough for us to really be able to kind of see it and sense it and focus on it, it's too late for us to fully finish the task. Why do people with ADHD sometimes blow things up even when they're going well? Sometimes people with ADHD blow things up because life has gotten boring or mundane, and if you blow something up, it's interesting and it's not boring anymore. But also, it can really help preserve your sense of self. So everyone has an ego, a sense of self that they want to protect. And when you have ADHD, you typically have a more fragile sense of self and lower self-esteem. And so when you take the initiative and blow something up, like quit your job, it protects you from getting fired. And it protects your ego or your sense of self from rejection. It doesn't protect your bank account, but it does protect your ego. Why do I start spiraling when things go wrong? The reason you spiral more quickly is because with ADHD, we have Velcro for negative memories and Teflon for positive memories. So when something bad happens, your mind brings up all of these bad experiences, more than the neurotypical person would ever remember, and it all comes crashing down on you all at once. And so, of course, it sucks you down into that spiral. It is really hard to get out of once it starts. I think one of the best ways that you can stop a shame spiral is by practicing it when you're not actually in the moment. So practice the way that you are going to talk to yourself the next time you are feeling that coming. Interrupt the cycle, go do something sensory, go for a walk. Prepare yourself for the shame spiral that will happen, but doesn't have to take you down with it. What role does shame play in self-sabotage? Shame plays a really central role in self-sabotage. So shame is different from guilt in that guilt would say, I did something wrong. Shame says, I am wrong. So in any situation where things might be going a little bit well, that shame narrative, that I am wrong, I am bad, wants to pull us back. And so the self-sabotage helps pull us back into that mode of I am wrong. Shame is the enemy of positive change. It doesn't have to be a central player in your life, though. There are a lot of things that we can do to push back against shame and to push back against that spiral. Working with a mental health professional can be incredibly transformative if this is something that you really struggle with. But whatever method you choose, letting go of shame in your life can be one of the best things you've ever done for yourself. How does perfectionism affect people with ADHD? Perfectionism is really common with ADHD. What we see in the research is that people with ADHD tend to retain the harsh self-judgment of perfectionism without all of the high standards and orderliness of perfectionism. The difficulty of having really harsh self-judgment with perfectionism is that it leads to this cycle of shame. So We often deal with a shame spiral when we have a project coming with really high standards and there's nothing other than perfect that's good enough. What makes the most sense in that context is to procrastinate, to avoid, because it protects us from those really painful feelings of impending failure. By the way, do you have a go-to strategy for pulling yourself out of a shame spiral? Share your tips with the community in the comments. Why do I avoid doing important things until it's too late? So we often don't start things until it's too late because we had difficulty estimating how much time that thing would take in the first place. So when you have ADHD, time feels kind of like an accordion. Like sometimes it's really long and stretched out, and sometimes it's really compact and it goes by really quickly, which means that when you are trying to estimate how long it will take you to get something done, you are basing it off of something that feels really slippery, right? Something that feels like it expands and contracts randomly. We also underestimate how long all of those little bitty pieces tend to take. So gathering the materials, accessing resources, calling a friend, you get interrupted. It's actually really difficult to get an important task done. Added to that, when something's really important, we feel a lot of pressure. The brain often doesn't respond perfectly under pressure, and so we have more sludge in the way. I try so hard to be on time, and I'm still late. Why? When you have ADHD, it's really hard to sense the passage of time, so you may be taking longer than you think to do a certain task, maybe put your shoes on, maybe brush your hair. And time passes and continues to pass. It's not just about getting started earlier, and it's not just about caring more. It's about being able to track how much time has passed and have kind of specific anchors for I should have this done by this point, this done by this point, and this done by this point. We see a lot of magical thinking with ADHD in regards to time. So what happens is we mentally anchor to that one time it took us 15 minutes to get to work when we hit every single stoplight perfectly. And that's the number that sticks in our mind. We're not thinking about the 10 minutes that it took us to get from, the front door to the car. We're not thinking about the potential for car trouble. We have anchored to that 15-minute number, when in reality, it might actually be more like 30 minutes. So unless we take the time to update how long things actually take, not how long they took that one time, we will do the magical thinking and inevitably run late most of the time. Why do I keep repeating the same mistakes? So your brain has neural pathways. It sort of works like sledding on a hill, and the more times you go down that particular path, the harder it is to go any other path than that one path. So the more times you repeat a mistake, it actually makes you more likely to repeat the same mistake. It takes a ton of energy and intentionality to help your brain learn new neural pathways that may be better, but they're different. So investing in new neural pathways, it's going to be hard, but it's going to be worth it. How does ADHD self-sabotage show up in relationships? I see this showing up in really 3 ways. The first one is finding a reason to walk away at the first sign of trouble, whether that's maybe a couple argument and you say like, well, if you're not with me, you're against me. Maybe it's expecting that person, once they really know you, they're not going to be happy with you, so you might as well end it now. But really, quitting before you've even really started. So the second one is assuming that this relationship isn't right for you. When the boredom sets in, we often have a wonderful period of infatuation, and then after that period, things get a little boring. They're not as exciting. If you blow it up, it's not boring anymore now, is it? And the third one is not disclosing your ADHD. ADHD, we call it the worst kept secret because people can see symptoms, they can see what's happening. What happens when you don't disclose your ADHD is that you're letting your partner come to all the wrong conclusions about why these things are happening, why they feel you are maybe selfish or always late because you don't care. When you do disclose your ADHD and explain, this is what I live with and here's how hard I try to make this work, they can come to all the right conclusions and you can move forward together. How do I build discipline with an ADHD brain? This is a fair question, but honestly, it's the wrong one. The question shouldn't be, how do I build discipline? It should be, how do I set myself up for success despite all of the obstacles with ADHD? So what we know from behavior science is that we have antecedents, we have behavioral reinforcements, and we have consequences. Antecedents means setting the stage for success, making sure you have everything you need to do at the ready. Behavioral reinforcements are those little congratulations, those positive reinforcements. Consequences, like I think we all know what consequences are, usually not very much fun. If you think about the antecedent, behavioral reinforcement, and consequences like saving for retirement, you'll understand how this works. So if you save early and often in your 20s, you don't actually have to save that much on any given payday to have enough for retirement. If you wait until your 40s and 50s, you're going to have to save more than you otherwise would have, but you can do it. And if you wait until you are in your 60s to save for retirement, it is going to be painful and it will probably not be very effective. So focusing on discipline, on the consequences, is one of the worst uses of your energy. The best use of your energy is to focus on setting the stage for you to do the thing that you want to have done. You usually have less pain, it's much easier, and it's way more sustainable than focusing on discipline. Have a question that we didn't cover? Try asking the Understood Assistant, a free chat tool on understood.org. It'll give you those quick answers you're looking for and customized tips based on expert-vetted resources. Thanks for watching, and make sure to subscribe to our channel for more content like this.